This here is an article from 2013 by the New York Post, and it shows how active Swiss criminal banksters are in the international financial world and what bold liars these Swiss really are, telling the FBI that the crime is protected under the cover of diplomatic immunity, just as the BIS, or Bank for International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, operates, and how they tried to vow the agent into Swiss secrecy, revealing that this is how the Swiss mafia works through the laws of silence, what one might call the omerta. Yes, the Swiss really think of everything at the highest level of watertight crime, standing above all laws, being backed up by politics and laws of diplomatic immunity. So here we can read it. Just push pause. There he is. This is how they look like. Just put pause and read it. With a threatening tone, he asked the agent if he knew who he really was. "Do you know who I really am? Do you know who I am?" That he was a Swiss bankster of Octagon, the ones ruling the world and controlling everything. The Swiss have been doing this so long that they think that it's normal, showing their arrogance when things go wrong. It shows that they have no conscience at all and never feel guilty of their crimes against humanity. In Switzerland itself, the home of international crime, the banksters are being backed up by all Swiss politicians of both left and right. And as they are protected by Swiss law and by the Swiss police and Swiss Justice Department, no Swiss bankster has ever been tried or sent to prison. The criminal state of Octagon, Switzerland, has even laws that a person who violates the Swiss banking secret goes to prison or gets even tortured and murdered by the Swiss Nazi authorities, as Wolfgang Umvogel had to find out the hard way in 2010 when he got suicided in a Swiss torture detention center. So here we can see the statistics, how the USA is the main target of the Swiss banksters. And the Swiss also have a thing they call the silent laws, that if you criticize Swiss banks or Switzerland as a whole, you will get terrorized by the Swiss authorities, as the Swiss Nazi police and the Swiss Nazi Justice Department, as Mr. Sean Ross had to find out the hard way. And as the Swiss Nazi Templar banksters of Octagon know that they have nothing to fear in the motherland Switzerland, they could easily expand to the US, Nazi Germany and Saudi Arabia, working for King Abdullah, like the petrodollar, where there is a lot of rogue money in their billions from the oil business called petrodollars. And as the oil reserves are at the bottom, they try to make an easy fortune with these rogue petrodollars through boom and bust at the US Stock Exchange or pump and dump at Wall Street. Well, here we can read the article how Abdullah is involved in this together with the Swiss banks. See, just put pause and you can read all. The following facts are very important to understand how Octagon and the Swiss orchestrated the Wall Street crash in 1929 and brought a 10-year depression and a world war to the US. You have to know about a major event in Switzerland with a massive impact on the financial world, politics and history, which took place very shortly after Black Tuesday on October the 29th, 1929, and the theft of the deposits of honest Americans. leading to the Swiss Nazi Templar connection and the creation of a financial tool in order to get the stolen money out of the US in order to get into Octagon, Switzerland. So the Nazi war industry in Germany and Switzerland at the time when the stolen money still was in the US. It is the creation and establishment of the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, by Hjalmar Schacht and the Nazis in Basel, Switzerland, only 6 months later on May 17th, 1930. So the stolen US money could be transferred by the US Central Bank to the central bank of all central banks, the Swiss BIS. So you see, it was only 6 months later, from Black Tuesday on October the 29th until the foundation of the BIS on May 17th, 1930. It's all in the same time period, it is. A whole population got robbed of its savings by an organization which started to finance Adolf Hitler from 1923 on in Zurich, Switzerland. The name of this organization is Octagon, of the Nazi Templars from Switzerland. And all these events happened shortly after each other in the very same time. The Swiss Army. On a Saturday. In the village. What are they preparing for, eh? February 2013. Ah, the gold, look. They're carrying the Nazi gold, that's it. Yeah. The Templars, nobody there, nobody looking. Oh, I'm sure they're gonna like that, eh? Wee, they're gonna like this. So here's the obelisk from my icon here in Olten in Switzerland. So that guy here is a one of the 7 Swiss presidents. Yeah. That was in the 19th century, or even the 18th century. The triangle here. So here's the river Are. Yeah. Obelisk, the symbol of the pharaonic domination in Octagon. There it is, the obelisk, on my icon on the river here. Ah, don't you think they've got a peaceful history here in Switzerland? Forget about that. They don't. Now look at the lizards here, more reptilians. There it is. It's full of it. So that's, and the obelisk is just there. My icon in my channel. Swiss reptilians in Zurich. Is that human? Ah, more reptilians. As cold as the Swiss are, there must be reptilians here in Zurich. Lizards and dragons in Zurich. Of course it's a bank. The fascist symbol.
Not allowed.
Why can't I?
At all,
because I just want to film this
You're
here.
in a Swiss banking building and there's
cannot.
photography forbidden.
It's not it's a video camera.
You cannot
Yeah,
take
but it's the
video.
same
Well, why
pictures
can't I?
here
No.
because
Just
of the
accept this,
protection of
otherwise we
the
have
other
to call the
customers.
police now.
Yeah, call the police.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
filming.
okay, then we
No.
call the police and please don't touch.
Don't touch me.
Touch us, please.
Okay.
Look, the this is the V. This I wanted to show this. This is the Templar symbol on the Chinese warriors. Okay. So this guy is going to call up the police. Look, this is Switzerland. They robbed. Look, he's going to call the police. Look. Look. Look, this is Switzerland. Look. I hope we all felt how cold, sly, organized, cunning, and mean these Swiss banksters are. They are in fact as cold and slimy as reptilians. Well, this is probably the reason why they show lizards and reptilians at the very entrance of their criminal Zurich-based UBS bank. UBS, that means United Banksters of Switzerland. So the other cold and slimy Swiss creatures will know whom actually the bank belongs to. But beware, for normal human beings it's a trap. It looks nice and inviting, with doors opening automatically as to say, come in and leave your money here, with smiling publicity saying customer is king, and a warm, inviting wind blowing in your face, out into the cold street. Then you see the Chinese artwork, and as a non-suspecting tourist, after all the calculated welcome strategy, you're being trapped into making a picture, and then snap, the trap closes down on you, and they all jump down on you, push you around, and call up their fellow criminals of the Swiss Nazi police. And you think by yourself, now what did I do wrong here? There were no warnings as forbidden to make photographs in big neon letters. Nothing. That would be bad for Swiss business, I suppose, and showing too many people what Switzerland is actually all about. These are part of the silent laws of Switzerland, as I've already told you about. And as we could all clearly hear him saying, he said on the phone, "Come quick, this is an emergency." So this way they falsify the criminal statistics on how many times a year the cops have to come running for criminal emergencies as being invited to take an art picture. And then they claim in Parliament to need more police, who are in fact just parasiting on the rest of the population, walking around in their fancy uniforms, do some sports and gun practice, and don't work a single day. Just making problems over nothing. Even their supposedly security paranoia is faked, because we all know that the biggest bank robbers are the banks themselves, having the cheekiness to videotape us by them inside and outside. These cold-hearted and slimy Swiss banksters and their police friends just turn everything around in the eternal Swiss lie of Octagon. It's therefore no wonder why this highly criminal Swiss UBS bank shows the Chinese terracotta warriors of their pharaonic emperor with the Templars V symbol, because the very same Swiss Templars Bank from Octagon shows the Templar symbol no less than 3 times in their logo, as we can see here. And it shows the biblical end times number of John, the 666, plus the entire logo as being hexagonal, being the inner circle of Freemasonry ruling the entire world. And there are more things to see, of which I don't want to tell you yet at the moment because of certain reasons, considering time and the developments of the general itinerary. So here we can clearly see that the whole logo is hexagonal, as we can see here. There's 6 parts here, and here there's 3 times the V of the Templars, like on the terracotta soldier of the Chinese emperor, who of course is of pharaonic descent, as they all are, because Egypt in fact was a cosmopolitan place where they mixed with all races of the whole earth in order to create the all the kings and queens to rule over the earth. So this is the V, and here is the 6. It says a 6 here. So from 2 sides of the key we can see the 6. If you look at it from the other side, we can see the 6 as well. They thought of everything. So this is 6, 6, 6. Well, this is the Templars Bank of the of Octagon, of the criminal Octagon of Switzerland.
The terracotta soldiers with the what's the Templar symbol doing on it? Chinese it's all the same all over the world. Sun hieroglyph. Look, the whole wall is full with these sort of things. It's all full. I don't know what kind of building it is. There it says the Central Bank of Switzerland, Banque Nationale. That's why there were all these bloody symbols there. That's why. Yeah. So they robbed after Black Tuesday. They robbed all this money of honest Americans, you know, and by creating the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. It was the Fed, together with these sort of banks. This is the Swiss Fed. See, Swiss there. Octagon, the home of the Templars. The owl. It's full of owls here. The dragons. Oh, Babylon. Yeah. And some more dragons all over. Look at this. All dragons. In Zurich, Switzerland. And this is the Helvetia. This is the Swiss Isis. I don't know what this is. And some more Swiss lizards in Zurich. Look at it. Reptilians. Oh, that's Switzerland. Everywhere the sun hieroglyph. There's one and there's one. This means the City Hall in Zurich. Oh, look, some more Swiss lizards. Look at this. This is the lizard country. Oh, look, the teeth. Oh yeah, that's Switzerland. Obelisks in Zurich. Or we could just see how aggressive they are, you know, doing nothing, and they come and threatening me, you know. Call the police, call the police. So who's the criminal here? Hey? And another obelisk in Zurich. Oh, Zurich. Zwingli, that means the one who's forcing someone else. Zwingen in German, that means to force something upon another person. Well, that's typical Swiss, I tell you. They always want other people to do what they're telling. FIFA, this is the World Soccer Organization in Zurich. Hey, what are they so afraid of? Look at it. Everything is closed. I thought soccer was for fun. Oh no, it's big business. No, it's politics. It is. The symbol of the moon goddess. I don't know what it is there. So here it says the house to the sun. The house to the sun. In Zurich. So this tower here in Basel, Switzerland, or Basel as I say in French, probably from Basel, is called the Biz. And it is it's a dominion that it doesn't belong to Switzerland. It's like the Vatican or the City of London or Washington, the Biz. It's very important. Very big criminals. Very big criminals. Dealing with Hitler and I don't remember exactly how it was, but this is the most financial side of the financial things going on, like in the dark, like, you know. There's not many people who know about this. So this is the BIS, BIS. It's like a territory on its own in Basel, Switzerland.
When on August 30th, 1923 in Zurich, the Swiss and the Swiss army under General Ulrich Wille started to finance Hitler with 30,000 Swiss francs, which is $500,000 today, they already knew that in order to rob Europe of its gold reserves, it needed a special bank to do so. So in 1930, May 17th, when it had become clear that their man would become the next German Chancellor in 1933, the sly Swiss, together with Hitler's bankers Hjalmar Schacht and Emil Pohl, founded the Bank für Internationalen Zahlungsausgleich, the BIZ, B-I-Z, and told the world that its purpose would be for Germany to pay their World War I reparation payments. But the criminal Swiss mind had entirely different plans with it. So here we can see a picture of Hjalmar Schacht. Hjalmar is a Scandinavian name because his mother, she was the Baroness Constance Justine Sophie von Eggers. And so here we can see that again the per A, the black nobility, is involved, the pharaonic per A. So this guy is from his mother's side, is of pharaonic per A descent. They did the whole war, you know, the pharaohs. This is a pharaoh. In English, this sinister bank, the Bank of the Nazis, got notorious under the name of the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, the BIS, who did indeed, on May 26, 1939, stole the gold reserves of Czechoslovakia in England itself. So World War II could be financed. So it is no wonder why the Nazis didn't invade Switzerland. It is curious, though, why the Allies didn't in 1945. But the answer is quite simple, because they're all on the Swiss pay list. All governments in the world are being run through a worldwide web of Freemasons who get their orders from Octagon, the motherland and original home of the Templars. It is indeed this little country, the little dirty pig with the cross, that rules the entire world, and the Swiss are the biggest crooks in the world who can only lie and cheat and have absolutely no conscience at all. Just a complete lack of it. The Swiss are responsible for all world wars and the murder of millions of people and their children. They brought death, bloodshed, total catastrophe, mass murder and misery over Europe and the Muslim world as well. And no government in the world will ever stand up against them because they're all part of the Templars mafia of Octagon. Switzerland is called the Little Dirty Pig because of their country's resemblance with a pig, as you can see here on the picture here, showing the country Switzerland, the map. So this is a map of Switzerland. Geneva lies here, Bern, the capital, is here, Basel is about here, Zurich is here, the Italian speaking part is here, Stad, it's about here, and St. Moritz is about here. So this is a map of Switzerland which looks like a pig, and they even call it the dirty little pig with the cross. As we can see in this video, this bank of banks still exists today. It's a central bank of central banks and only deals with central banks. All its members, employees and even their families enjoy total diplomatic immunity and stand above all laws. They can rape a child, do satanic rituals and get away with it. They have carte blanche to violate all human and God's laws. And no legal jurisdiction can be applied to them. No government in the world has inside authority in this bank, and the ground it stands on is extraterritorial, where not even the Swiss police can step into, except when you videotape it from the outside. Then the Swiss police comes and terrorizing you. I had to run after I filmed it. This obscure bank made World War II possible by laundering looted gold for the German Reichsbank and by transferring gold reserves of other European nations to the Nazis. This sinister bank can be compared to a stealth bomber. It flies high and fast, is undetected, has a small crew and carries a huge payload. And if we look at their logo of this bank, it has the same red and white colors as the Swiss Templars flag of the little dirty pig, where the square being us and lower base of the pyramid and hierarchy being encircled by the oval, which is them, with the crosshairs of a rifle scope aiming at us, the square. The oval is a Freemason symbol, as the Oval Office and many other logos. I'm receiving murder threats from the Swiss Police and Justice Department because I open up my mouth. Please, someone help. The Swiss already murdered the Austrian Wolfgang Umvogel in 2010 and many others who talked about the Swiss banksters. Do Google Peter Odensov. He got murdered because he talked too much about the Swiss banks and he had proofs. So they suicided him.
Well, it says again, the BITS, the Bank for International Financial Transactions. And look how it is. Oh, they're already looking at me. Look. Probably the cops coming now. This is the biggest criminal organization in the world. Here they finance Hitler and all that. So, Octagon. That's where it all is. Octagon. Lizards in Switzerland, in Basel train station. There's another one. Switzerland, the home of the lizards. apparently. There's the ISIS 2 times, and there is Switzerland, the Templar's cross. So this is the train station in Basel, and here, well, I don't see it here, the Templars symbol, the V for victory, well, it says victory. Still at the Basel train station. So here's the Bank of International Settlements. You can't film in front of it because police will come immediately. So that's Hitler's bank in Basel. So here's the railway station. With this bank, so they got the, it was founded just a few months after Black Tuesday in October 1929, and the American Depression started. So they stole all the money of all these honest American citizens, and they got it here in Switzerland to finance the Nazi war industry with the stolen money of the American people with it. This is how they did it. And then they dare to say, we respect all men, or I don't know what they say here. Clean Switzerland, you know. Yeah. They honor all people like men, it says. That's horrible. I don't know what it is. I'll look at it later. There's Hilton. Next to the Biz, eh? The Dragon ship. And it says Fluctuat nec mergitur in Basel. So here's the other part of the Biz. I'm not going to get any nearer because they erase your card and, you know, the film, and call up the cops and all that. So this is called the Bahnhof, the train station. There's that side. On this side here, the place where you can see it here, it's called Eichengraben, and the place is called the place Eichenplatz, which means the place of ashes. Well, it's called the place of ashes because actually they burned in the Middle Ages, they burned a lot of women here. So the ashes, the place of the ashes. And therefore it's no coincidence that every Swiss bank, as we can see here, and insurance company, it's being represented here as an omen of you know, who's really ruling here, or sort of black magic taking the energy of all those tortured and burned women. And up here there's a prison which is called Waaghof, and that means to weigh on a scale. So we know the witches, they were weighed, and if they were too light, then they got burned. So they tortured them up here, where there's a prison now, and then they burned them here, and they're still very proud of it. Everything is called here with ashes. This is where they burned the women, and the burning of women and torturing of the Inquisition, it was in fact the Swiss Inquisition. It was a Swiss idea, because from this place here, Basel, where the devil lives, there were 2 Swiss guys, Heinrich Kramer and Jacobus Spenger, who wrote a book which is called The Witch's Hammer, the Malleus Maleficarum. So this is why they did it, and they still know it. They still know it. So here's the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. This is the second part of it. They built it later, so I'm not going to get any nearer. It's full of cameras, as we can see here, everywhere. There, they're probably looking already. And so the place of the ashes. Very bad. Look. Wham! Smashed the European women. In Basel, this is one of the animals in the Revelations that John saw, sort of a leopard here. That is another church here in Basel. With a knight killing the dragon or whatever he does. And it looks like some sort of a Viking door. Here in Basel, the same church. Here's some more dragons here. There's some more dragon stuff. So here's Basel, or Baal, as in Baalbek, and it's quite an evil place. So here's the same church again here. So on the way we bought this here, showing the pharaonic ka, meaning the soul when alive, and also the intrinsic life energy as the Japanese ki, which is definitely the pharaonic ka, because all civilization, science and progress is from them. But we had to sell our souls, or ka, to them for it all. The Chinese call this life energy ka, or ki, the chi, and in fact ginger, as in this ginger ale, is very good for the chi. The life energy, or the ka, as it shows here. Ginger is very warming and makes the chi abundant. It also says on the can that this ginger beer is from Jamaica, a place where our souls can live. See the Pharaoh show in the Octagon series for further explanation. And any descendant of the enemy within and true Pharaoh still living amongst us knows that the mere aspect of the image of Ka with a palm tree is a reminder of the River Nile's nostalgia. A Swiss door. And some more Swiss reptilians in Bal. I told you, they are so cold and calculating. So there's a hotel in Baal where it's the Three Kings, which is the number 3, and it's Isis, Horus and Seth. And up there are 4 obelisks, giving the number 4. So 3 and 4 together make 7, which is very important for the pharaohs. I'll give a close-up picture later on. And yeah, so that's also the 3 sides of the pyramid, number 3. And then the underside and the 4 elements, number 4, earth, water, fire and air. And here came a lot of kings and still, you know, the New World Order. So from here we can perfectly see that's an obelisk, and that's a swimming pool on top. So the 4 obelisks giving the number 4, the underside of the pyramid, and the number 3, the side. Here in Basel. In Octagon, the Empire of Darkness, Switzerland. So even Napoleon came here, apparently. Yeah. And Henry Kissingers and kings and queens, they all come here. Now there's the Three Kings Hotel from this side here. A lot of fancy cars here. Oh, I'm a very important person. Oh yeah. In Basel. Sun hieroglyph all over. There it is. And another one with the sun hieroglyph with the Freemasonry triangle. A lot of gold. I like gold. Reptilians. Some more reptilians. Full of it here. In Baal, where the devil lives. Pyramids in octagon. Pyramid in octagon. The Swiss pharaohs. Just a pyramid in the backyard. Oh, what is this? The pyramid in octagon. Oh, the Swiss pharaohs, they're like this. Look at it. Oh, what is this here? What is this doing in Switzerland? Pyramid in octagon. I tell you, the Swiss like pyramids in octagon. They're just so attracted to it. Now, what are all these pyramids doing in somebody's backyard here in Switzerland? I mean, the pharaohs are here, I tell you. They are here. This is octagon Switzerland. And watch the pharaoh show and you understand. Look at it. They're here, right? They're here. Now go and have a pyramid in your backyard. In octagon. Lots of pyramids with the Swiss pharaohs in octagon. Oh, they like these sort of things. In octagon. Loads of pyramids in octagon. How come they're standing here in Switzerland? Well, watch the pharaoh show, you know it. Octagon. So this is the criminal state of Switzerland, where they're hiding the gold and stash the money in the mountains here. This is octagon. I mean, where do these Swiss come from? The Swiss Germans are not at all like Germans. They don't even like each other. The French-speaking Swiss, les Romands, are not at all like the French. The Italian-speaking Swiss in Tessin, they are not like the Italians. So where do they come from? These people who brought so much harm and suffering to the Europeans. And they definitely are not European. They show this in their history and they show this today. So the question may be put here, where do they come from? Okay? Then definitely not from here. You know, you could never have French, Germans and Italians having them live together. You know, they would have a world war. You know, we had world wars, you know, never. So the Swiss are not French, Germans and Italians living together. They are one people or one entity speaking 3 or 4 languages, you know, in order to do their wrongdoings all over in Europe. That's what they are. They're not Italians and they're not Germans and they're not French. Never. Think about this. Well, what do we got here? It looks like an X. Or like Pax. Oh, yeah. And here we are in Waben in Switzerland. And this is the Swiss Templars logo of the Crusaders. And it says the Immigration Office. Federal Immigration Office. There. Templars. These are real big time criminals. Real big time. So, well, let's have a look at this thing here. I'm gonna walk around. And what are we gonna see? What are we gonna see? It's changing, isn't it? It's real changing. It's still changing. Changing. It's changing into, there we are. Square and compasses. There it is. There it is. Oh, what do you say? And if you put the bar underneath, that one here, if you put it on top here, there, from there to there, and then you get another symbol we know. Square and compasses in the criminal state of Switzerland. So we need a military intervention here. So there's the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye, the police eye. Here is the obelisks with the sun hieroglyph. Here we see it again, eh? There's something in the middle. I don't know what that is. And it has the joining, Freemasonry joining, and the world domination. And this is where they dominate the world, where they made the. This is the Swiss Parliament. From the other side, with all the Nazi gold on top here, all the Swiss gold. And yeah, look at the gold they have, eh? And where it's green, it's copper. So the gold is no copper, right? So this is the UBS. The United Banksters of Switzerland, or Usama Bank Switzerladen, you know. And on the other side, we've got the obelisk there, which I showed before, and that was the all-seeing eye. Oh, never mind. And there's the Parliament, or the Bundeshaus, where they have the covenant, the Bund. So, these guys here, they're the ones who attract very rich people from all over the world in a tax tax evasion haven like Switzerland, so they don't pay any more taxes at home. But taxes have to be paid, right? And all the taxes are going to be on the back of the poor people. Well, I mean, the rich never paid the taxes anyway. Look at the noblemen and the kings. I mean, they took the taxes, didn't they? So it's quite logical that the rich people, they are not paying any taxes. And the Swiss banks, they were made by the Templars. And they founded the Swiss banks and Switzerland in 1291. The last of the Crusades took place in 1291, and Aachen, Saint-Jean d'Acre in French, was the last stronghold of the Templars, which fell on May 18th, 1291. So only 2.5 months later, the time to get back on horseback and on foot. In those days, they founded Switzerland on August 1st, 1291. So it's without any doubt that the Templars' treasure went to Switzerland, right? And you would be astonished about all the things you'd find in the Swiss caves and in the Swiss banks, you know, about the last 5,000 years of human history. Yeah, so the UBS. They are right near to the parliament, of course, here. Where the gangsters are, the banksters. And they are ruling the parliament. Okay, well, watch the Pharaoh show for more. Allez voir le Pharaon show si vous voulez savoir de plus. Schauen Sie die Pharaon show, wenn Sie mehr wissen wollen. As we see here, the bank, the United Banksters of Switzerland Bank, has 3 keys. Does that remind anybody of something? Well, the Vatican has 2 keys. Ah, well, they probably have something to do with each other. Well, I mean, they are the Swiss Guard in the Vatican, who have a museum in a town called Zion in Switzerland. And of course, there were the Templars, you know, who had to do some things with the Vatican as well. So that explains the 3 keys at the bank and the 2 keys of the Vatican. So you guys go and search where are the 4 keys or the 1 key. Okay. Well, think it over. Oh, here's the whole parliament. From the other side, it's Isis, the Swiss witch, and another time Isis with a sword. That's Babylon. And on top here, 3 times Isis, the Swiss witch, and the gold. And well, let's film them back. Hello, they're probably looking. So this one is on the parliament, and that one is looking around. And here we got the joining there. Yeah. Yeah. They're probably looking. What is he filming? You know? So, Big Brother, the all-seeing eye. Right. And another bank. It's full of banks here. Where the parliament is, another bank. That was the UBS, as we saw before. There again. And again. Another bank. Alien bank. There. The bank there. Credit Suisse. Oh. I mean, without any question, who's giving the orders here? I just showed it to you. Here it says 1291 when Switzerland started, with the joining underneath. There it says. This is the sun hieroglyph all around. So there it says, 1291, as I told you. Parliament. Bloody gangsters they are.
Here's a picture of Adolf Hitler visiting Switzerland on August 30th, 1923, where he held speeches for Swiss leading industrials for a period of 8 days in the larger Swiss towns of Zurich, Basel and some others, collecting at least 30,000 Swiss francs at that time, which is about $1 million today. Some people say he even got 123,000 francs, which is about $4 million. So the Swiss financed Adolf Hitler, the Third Reich and the Second World War. The later head of the SS of Berlin, Gottlob Burger, said that Hitler came back with a suitcase full of francs and dollars. This Swiss financing enabled Hitler to do a military coup a few months later in November of the same year. And as we know, it failed, enabling Hitler to write Mein Kampf in prison, mostly written by Rudolf Hess. Hess was pure Pharaonic and was even born in Egypt in 1894. And it was Hess, who was studying in Zurich at the time, who together with the Swiss Nazi Ulrich Wille invited Hitler to come to Switzerland. By that time, Hess already had become a member of the Swiss Templars, and it therefore has to be assumed that Mein Kampf in fact was a Swiss book. The Swiss never do anything for others unless they smell money. Big money. Only then they smile, the Swiss. So when the Swiss invited Hitler, they said, well, we like your ideas very much. So you kill the Jews and we take the bank account. The Swiss Nazi Ulrich Wille's mother was from the von Bismarck nobility and Pharaonic per A. And the Swiss had also contacts to Goebbels and Himmler. He was also famous for keeping children's slaves, which I will tell you about in the next vid. Here the child's being sold in the market in Switzerland. Whenever Hitler visited Switzerland, he stayed in the Villa Schönberg Nazi residence of Mr. Wille and watched the Swiss cross, the Templars cross on the right. The Swiss Nazi Templar Ulrich Wille even had his daughter study in Germany, so he could conceal his real reasons for visiting Germany all the time. Because after 1923 and after the covenant had been made, they decided that Hitler would better not visit the country anymore, where his finances came from, for safety measures. The covenant had to be hidden. I knew a geezer from the regiment who guarded Rudolf Hess in the Berlin-Spandau prison. And Hess told him that Hess flew over to England to tell people that Hitler was taking orders from the Swiss. And their aim was to destroy Germany as well. Which Hess didn't want. Hess said that on occasions it was crawling with Swiss in Germany who could of course speak accentless German. And eventually the Swiss Templars had Rudolf Hess silenced forever by their British Freemasonry companions. Hitler told the Germans what they wanted to hear, to win the people's trust, hearts and minds, so nobody realized that he did in fact the opposite until it was too late. Well, that's what politicians do, isn't it? So here in this video you can hear him solemnly swear in an overwhelming, convincing way never to force children to war and that women shouldn't defend themselves in war. So 2 million German women could be gangbanged by the Red Army in 1945. All this was part of the plan since he got financed in Switzerland, 1923.
Ein Frauenregiment in der Sowjetunion beim Scharfschießen. Oder ein Frauenbataillon in Spanien beim Handgranaten werfen. Oder ich kann da den Vertretern dieser Art von weiblicher Gleichberechtigung nur sagen, ich würde kein Mann sein, wenn ich so etwas dulden wollte. Ich habe den Krieg erlebt. Ich weiß, wie schwer er ist. Ich weiß, von wie vielen Männern die Nerven in diesem Krieg zerbrochen worden sind. Ich habe sie zurückgehen sehen, oft zu Dutzenden und Dutzenden schlotternd, in sich vollständig zerfallen und gebrochen. Der Gedanke, dass ein Mädchen oder eine Frau das auf sich nehmen soll, da könnte ich dann keinen Respekt haben vor den deutschen Männern. Entweder ich stehe dafür gerade oder sie soll zurücktreten. Solange wir ein gesundes männliches Geschlecht besitzen, und dafür werden wir Nationalsozialisten sorgen, wird in Deutschland keine weibliche Handgranatenwerferinnenabteilung gebildet und kein weibliches Scharfschützenkorps. Das ist nicht Gleichberechtigung, sondern das ist in Wirklichkeit Minderberechtigung der Frau. Denn für die Frau ist das schwerer als für den Mann. Für sie ist das viel furchtbarer als für den Mann. Ich könnte genauso gut sagen, ich rüste Kinder aus in Zukunft und schicke sie in den Krieg. Das werden wir nicht tun.
Der Führer empfängt in seinem Hauptquartier den Reichsjugendführer Axmann mit einer Abordnung von 20 Hitlerjungen, die sich bei der Verteidigung ihrer Heimat besonders bewährt haben und dafür mit dem Eisernen Kreuz ausgezeichnet wurden. Mit diesen 20 Jungen ist vor dem Führer symbolisch die deutsche Jugend angetreten, die als treuer Helfer unserer Soldaten und des Volkssturms mutig und unerschrocken im höchsten Einsatz steht. Der Führer lässt sich von den Jungen ihre Erlebnisse schildern. Ich habe zunächst mit 13 meiner Kameraden unter den Befehlen des Tempels im Stadtteil Grünwald gelegen. Diese sollten wir den Einbrechen gefangen wir konnten sichern. Als diese dann aus der Richtung Gleiwitz am 24. Januar anhalten, teilte der Panzer uns in 2 Gruppen ein und holte in Mitte ein, gegen die Panzer vor und um den Riff anzugreifen, gaben die anderen gegen den Führerschutz. Unser Dampfführer hat der Panzer abgeschossen und ist dann leider bei der Verluste des Stürzens gefallen. Nachdem wir seinen Tod festgestellt hatten, mussten wir uns taktischen Gründen nach einem Eisenbahnland zurückziehen. Und dort haben wir dann am Abend die Untergehung und Durchführung der Straße von Gleiwitz nach Hindenburg, die den Zugang zur Stadt bildete, gesprengt. Ich war beim ersten Angriff als Befehl des Kampfführers als Melder eingesetzt. Ich musste eine befehligte Meldung für den Sturmschutz zurückziehen und diese heranziehen. Diese kamen dann auch nach und so ermöglichten sie uns das Eindringen in das vom Feind besetzte Dorf und so hoben wir die Bereitstellung auf. Als der Russe näher an Laban heranrückte, habe ich mich dem Kampfkommandanten von Laban freiwillig als Melder zur Verfügung gestellt. Meine Aufgabe bestand darin, Meldungen zu den einzelnen Kompaniegefechtsständen zu bringen. Außerdem habe ich oftmals Panzerfäuste in Verklärung in die Hauptkampflinie gebracht. Die Panzerfäuste habe ich auf Leiterwand oder Kran unter feindlichem Beschuss in die Hauptkampflinie geschafft.
Hitler and his gang had 175,000 German boys killed in the Volkssturm in 1945, and 2 million German women got gangbanged by the Russians. Well, you kill the men and their sons, so you can easily take the bonus and conquer the women. And this is how the pharaonic genetics got spread again, because it was only the Soviet officers and officials who did this, whereas Russian soldiers themselves had strict orders not to touch any women and girls. This was restricted to the pharaohs only, and they came by the thousands from Moscow to have a go, or two. It was all planned this way, and Hitler in fact despised of the Germans. He lied to the English, he lied to the Russians, and the whole world, and most of all, he lied to the Germans. But he didn't lie to the Swiss. He kept his promise to the end. Hitler was a pharaonic, Freemason, Templar, Swiss agent who never got rid of the Freemasons, actually. He only sacrificed the lower insignificant ranks of stupid Europeans, while the higher pharaonic Freemason ranks slipped into the officers' jackets of the SS, Wehrmacht, Luftwaffe, Navy and Gestapo for the next 12 years to come. Especially in the early days of the German Nazis in the 30s and 20s, a lot of Freemasonry symbols are being used, as the skull and bones here. And the fold-out pyramid Templars flag, as the Pope is having it. Adolf Hitler himself doing Freemasonry symbols with his hands, as all politicians do now today. Secret politician Freemason symbol. The hidden hand of the Freemasons, like Napoleon, like Stalin, like the rest. And watch his facial expressions of Mr. Goering while he's slipping his hand in his jacket. You can see he knows, you know, like he's, look at that. Now watch his face and the sneaky gesture while he's doing it. I mean, there's no doubt. Yep, they were all pharaohs financed by Switzerland, so watch the Pharaoh show for more. I mean, there are real many times you can find this in history. Here is the logo of the Swiss Air Force during World War II, and they still haven't changed it today. The Swiss financed Adolf Hitler and World War II. Of course, this is a Nazi-built Focke-Wulf or Messerschmitt fighter plane. So here is a close-up picture from the same logo of the same picture. So this is the same fighter airplane the Germans had, and it's almost the same logo as the Nazis had on their warplanes. Well, the Swiss, if the Germans would have won the war, they would have only had to add the black cross in the middle of this white cross, which I'm going to show you later. Then we would have had a big European community Nazi army with the Swiss commanding. So here, this is the invasion of Poland. And the German tanks, they still had the Swiss flags on it, and then they changed it. The Swiss High Command changed that finally. The Swiss flag on the German tank in World War II, and then they changed it, you know, then they camouflaged it later on. And here's a picture of the logo of the Nazi German Luftwaffe, who bombed, killed and murdered millions of Europeans. Yes, it is a Swiss cross. as on the Swiss flag with a black cross as the one from a graveyard on it. So the Swiss had the same German fighter planes as the Focke-Wulf and the Messerschmitt. So in case they would have won the war, the Germans did, then they just would have added the black cross of death and it would be one army. They thought of everything actually. So, well, the Germans, as we know, they lost the war. And then the Swiss smiled, oh, we're so happy that the Germans lost the war, and you know, well, we did a good business anyway. So the black cross added on the Swiss Templar's cross is a symbol of death, as on a graveyard. So the German Nazi logo means we are the Swiss and we bring death. We bring death to the Europeans, just as they hate the European community very, very, very much here, and they only want to profit and parasite on Europe. This is Switzerland. Hitler took all the orders from his Swiss financiers, even of this Swiss logo on all German war material. The Swiss master race couldn't hold back their arrogance by putting this concealed Swiss logo on every German tank and airplane during World War II. Not knowing that 70 years later YouTube would come, where everything is analysed and scrutinised until the truth is being squeezed out. The Swiss hide, smile and conceal and make very little or no mistakes at all. But here, the Swiss master race definitely made a mistake out of a time where they couldn't possibly imagine the internet's power of people uniting worldwide. Let's not forget. Let's not forgive. The Germans murdered Europe. But the whole idea of being the master race and all that is not very German. It's very, very Swiss, and they still do it today in the 21st century. On this post it even said all the 10-year-olds go and fight the Second World War and serve Mr. Hitler. Can you imagine? Here, on top of the most important German monument of the German people and their history, we can see the Isis of the Swiss pharaohs and their Templars' shield, or Rothschild, as on the Swiss army knife. Meaning, we the Swiss pharaohs and sisters of Isis, we own Germany and the BRD with our Swiss banks and Swiss Templars. The Swiss financed Adolf Hitler in 1932 and afterwards, and here we can see the result, the symbol of Switzerland and their banks on top of the Brandenburg Gate, the symbol of the German unity. So who's controlling the so-called German unity, and it stands on top of that, eh? The Swiss military wing of the Templars did 9/11. So the Swiss banks could gain an astronomous financial profit through the collapse of the Arab financial world due to the American invasions into the Muslim world consequent to 9/11. They did it. The Swiss did 9/11. The military wing, the Templars, and their financial wing, the Swiss banksters. The Swiss did it. There's no doubt. Just as the Swiss financed this monster here so he could destroy Europe and the Europeans and their children. There's a rare picture showing Hitler in Switzerland in 1923 when they financed him. Now if the damn thing would be drawn in black, like on a piece of paper, you just draw it in black like around, forget about the red. And then if we take away two diagonals, like in white, and only the black stripes are being left, what do we get? I'm going to cut it out and show you what's left. So showing a drawn Templar's cross here, if I take away the white diagonals. So here we got a Templar's cross which was drawn with two diagonals gone. So it's a swastika in its original form. We just have to bend the outsides a little bit and we get the swastika the Nazis used. So this means the Nazis were in fact Templars, and they came all from Switzerland, who gave all the orders. That's why Hitler didn't attack the hand that fed him. So the Nazis were in fact pharaohs, and the swastika is in fact from a pyramid. Okay, you get the point? I already told you that in the Pharaoh show, but now you can see it in a live show, yeah, what I mean. So here in 1923 we see Adolf Hitler here in Switzerland. You see the guy with the gun in his pocket next to him? So here's when he got the money, and so he had to take the orders from them further on for the whole war. And that meant you kill them all and we take the bank accounts of everybody. This is why he didn't finish up with the British Army in Dunkirk, because the Swiss didn't want this. Because if he would have finished them off in Dunkirk, the British Army, then the war would have been over, and then there wouldn't be any gold for Switzerland. Hey, the Templars. At the beginning of the war in 1939, all the German tanks at the invasion in Poland had the Swiss cross on their tanks, as you can see it here. Later on they changed it. It was too obvious. No. Here's another one. It's like the white cross on the Swiss flag as they use it today. Then the Swiss asked, it was too obvious, so they asked, they ordered Mr. Hitler to change it into something else, which I'm going to show you later. Then the Swiss finances ordered Mr. Hitler to change the sign on the tanks into this one here, which they kept for the rest of the war actually. But it's still a Swiss flag. There's only a black one in the middle, you see. So it's a bit camouflaged, as they camouflaged it all. So after the Poland invasion, they changed it for the rest of the war with the black cross in the middle. It was all Swiss financed and Swiss masterminded by the Swiss Templars, the Knights Templars. So the Iron Cross is in fact a Templar's cross. The big one is the Templar's cross, and the little one there is when you take away two diagonals, and it both comes from a pyramid and from the pharaohs, as I proved to you before. On March 8th, 2013, the Swiss and their government decided to create more concealed, discriminating laws, which are in fact based upon the notorious Nuremberg laws of Nazi Germany. They want us foreigners to prove to them that we are integrated and live by Swiss standards. If not, the new Nuremberg laws of Switzerland will be put in action, and you will be deported or thrown in one of the 3 concentration camps they are building, even when you're married to a Swiss and have children. The aim of these laws is to provide one group of people power over another group of people to decide whether the other group of people will have a life or not have a life. And who's going to evaluate the conditions and criteria of the execution of the law and its punishments? Well, it's going to be the same one group of people again. And I can tell you, it's not the immigrants. We're not even allowed to vote about it. It's about us, but it's all going to be decided by this other group of people who don't even want us to integrate in the first place. And most of the members of this other group would even feel joy to find people of the other group who haven't fulfilled their conditions, so they can release the new Swiss Nazi laws on us. Thus one group is having total control over another group of people whom they already dislike from the beginning. These new discrimination laws, which divides people into separate classes with each separate set of rights, is an open door for worse to come. This is concealed Swiss Nazism, through which they turn their more traditional weapons against foreigners inside out and use it again as a more sophisticated weapon. In other words, first they do everything to make sure foreigners don't integrate into the Swiss society, and then they turn it inside out and say, hey, why aren't you integrated? That's illegal not to be integrated. So here you can see the name of the newspaper here, where it was in, there it is. And here you can read the article. Well, just put pause and read it. They want to separate families, and well, these are the new Swiss Nuremberg laws. Very bad. The Swiss don't want to talk to immigrants, and now they made it one of their integration laws that you must talk a Swiss language. Well, whom you want to talk to? To these guys here? You're not gonna have any word back, I tell you. They show us as black sheep, rats, crows, and as all sorts of other animals in their streets. And now they make it one of the new Nuremberg laws of Switzerland to be integrated, act, think and talk Swiss, so they can attack you with it. This will give any Swiss neighbour of yours a fine opportunity to denunciate their immigrant neighbours, a thing the Swissies love to do, to see their cops come running. These new laws are again another Swiss appeal for discrimination, racism and for even more violence from the authorities, as always very well concealed in clean Swissness, under the criteria of Swiss integration. I mean, who wouldn't agree that integration is important? The Swiss are incredibly sly and cunning, and through these inside-out immigration laws they want to obtain carte blanche for the SVP Nazi party, so everyone's foreign neighbour can be legally terrorized. So here we can see they want in fact the Nuremberg laws, they want it back, and it says vise juste, it means aim well. Now, well, what are they aiming at? Oh, this is horrible. This is Switzerland. These are the new Nuremberg laws of 2013. Somebody do something. And here some Nazi propaganda of the biggest Swiss Nazi party of Switzerland and in Europe, the SVP, or in French the UDC. They openly say yes to racism. Well, this is, folks, this is what's going on in Switzerland, and nobody does anything against it. Well, certainly not the Swiss Nazi Justice Department. They won't do anything against this. No, they don't. These new Swiss integration laws are being made with the help of a socialist, who is in fact a national socialist, as there are in fact no left-wing adversaries in Octagon, Switzerland. And the name of this so-called socialist is Simonetta Sommaruga, one of the 7 Swiss presidents or heads of state and mafia syndicate of Octagon and their Omerta laws of silence. Well, Swiss politics needs criminals, eh? And the criminals need to have a face of an immigrant, apparently, so they can extradite them. So over all these years, these Swiss have used all their laws, power and hatred against us immigrants in order to prevent any integration from our side. And now they do the flip and turn their old laws inside out to use it as a second weapon and punish us for not being integrated. With this second law they support the success of the first law. And this is exactly what the National Socialists did, so people accepted the new laws. This here, what you see here, is called the Swiss Bambi trick. Well, they financed the bloke here, didn't they? In my case, Sean Ross, they intensively terrorized me for 16 long years. Didn't give me neither a residential nor a working permit for 7 years. They criminalized me and put me in prison for 1 year, where they severely tortured me and broke my health. They kidnapped my child and terrorized my children. They murdered another child of ours. They drove us out of our home 11 times. I have no income whatsoever and no health insurance, and have to hitchhike for 3 days to see a doctor in France when sick. Murder threats by the Swiss police and Justice Department. They arrested me with a terrorist squad because of my YouTube films where I asked for help against Swiss Nazi terror, and I can't go out of the house alone. And now they'll come and say, "Hey you're not integrated. We'll deport you and will put you in prison again." The Swiss master race sets the conditions whether you're going to have a life or not, and control and steer your life by exerting control over the primary basics of your private life. And as a foreigner you have no possibility to make a complaint somewhere, because the Swiss Nazi Justice Department just won't treat it. Only the Swiss may use that, and use their authorities as an instrument of terror, blow after blow. Well, here's the logo of the Swiss Octagon border guard. Oh look, this is Octagon, it's octagonal. It shows 2 times Octagon. And sometimes the victims of Swiss terror crack, like this Albanian guy some weeks ago on February 27, 2013, who shot down 10 of these Swiss terrorists who had been mobbing him for years. And then, as usual, the organized Swiss liars portray the poor man as a sick person with a criminal background, and showing his dead Swiss as those poor little innocent Swiss victims. Swiss business as usual. When it comes to taking responsibilities for their crimes, these Swiss always say that they are so clean, neutral and innocent, but sometimes there's a price tag on the flip side, as they didn't take any responsibility for financing Hitler in 1923 and so on. So here you can read the article, you probably read it already somewhere. Just put pause. Here you can see the danger of Swiss Nazism spreading through Europe like a fire. Here the NPD, German Nazi Party, are taking the example of Switzerland, like kicking out foreigners, and this is very dangerous what's going on. So for me there was a very good prognosis for an integration, as I already spoke German and French, but they did everything to render my integration and that of my children impossible. Well, what else to expect from a country and a people who financed Adolf Hitler from 1923 on and got away with it. The Swiss smile through their teeth with their neutrality swindle, and they are incredibly sly and evil. This is Octagon, the heart of evil, that rules the entire world. Octagon of Switzerland, founded by the Templars on August 1st, 1291, out of whom the Freemasons were born in this true base of the Per A Pharaohs. Octagon as an 8-legged cross spider sitting and waiting at its base in the strong mountains, giving all the orders to its worldwide web of Freemasonry on all key positions in the entire world, executing the orders of Octagon, the 8-legged cross spider, in the center of the web, pulling all the invisible strings of control. This is Octagon, Switzerland, base of the Pharaohs and the Templars.